Congressman Matt Gaetz is with me right now, Republican from Florida. He sits on the House Judiciary and Armed Services Committees. Good to see you, Congressman. Thanks very much for joining us. Why did you storm through? Tell us the message you were trying to communicate.
Well, it appears we were successful in communicating the message that this was an unfair, politically motivated process. We saw just last week polling from AP and ABC News reflecting that half the country or more saw this as politically motivated and unfair to President Trump. And so now in the coming weeks, we will have open testimony. And I think that it's important for the American people to know that you've got a group of people whose names you don't know, whose faces you haven't seen, who are part of the permanent government in Washington. And whether Republicans or Democrats are elected, they believe it's their way or the highway. President Trump is very different. He pushes back on permanent Washington, and now you have people in the bowels of the bureaucracy of government who thinks that the president serves at their pleasure instead of them serving at the president's pleasure. How
much of this impeachment inquiry is smoke and mirrors ahead of the John Durham criminal investigation details and the IG report? A couple of weeks ago, we had on Svetlana Lokovo, who was basically a woman who met General Michael Flynn. And as we know, ahead of Veterans Day, let me just say, Michael Flynn rose to the rank of Lieutenant General over 33 years of service in the U.S. Army. He served as President Trump's national security advisor before resigning in February 17th. He basically saw his reputation destroyed. Here's Svetlana Lokovo. Listen to this. Did you have a romantic relationship with General Flynn?
Absolutely not.
The media suggested that perhaps you did after meeting him that one time. But you're saying, how many times did you meet General Flynn?
In my whole life up to today, I've only met and spoken to General Flynn once on 28th of February 2014.
So, Congressman, they used her to muddy up the reputation of General Flynn, who had served our country for more than 30 years. Can you connect the dots and tell us if this Ukraine situation has any relation to what took place in 2016, where they tried to frame Donald Trump and his campaign?
It's not just me saying that. It's not just Rudy Giuliani. It's actually a court in Ukraine. A court in Ukraine held that there was an act of election interference that was unlawful in the 2016 election, and it is only appropriate for us to get to the bottom of that. The Flynn case specifically highlights the hypocrisy here. When General Flynn was tricked into a misstatement to Jim Comey's team, he was forced into this plea deal. When Andrew McCabe lied repeatedly under oath, he escaped consequence. And so time and again, you see these people who are part of the permanent government of permanent Washington playing by their own rules. Yeah. But when you have disruptive patriots like General Flynn, like Donald Trump, then all of permanent Washington sort of crashes down on them. And that's what we've got to fight back against.
So which is why Sidney Powell, who also joined me a couple of weeks ago, his lawyer wants all of these charges dropped on General Flynn. Real quick, next week is the public hearings. What should we expect? How is this going to go down, sir? How does this play out?
Yeah. You will see a policy disagreement on how to approach the Ukraine sort of refashioned into an impeachment exercise. There are people who believe that the only appropriate action would have been full support of the Ukraine with no conditions whatsoever. President Trump had a different view, and now they want to impeach him for it. It's crazy.
Congressman, it's great to have you this morning. Thanks so much, Congressman Matt Gaetz. Everybody, please thank a veteran today. I'll see you tomorrow on Fox Business.